Coffee is a cut.
What is coffee?
Yeah.
It's a lot of things.
What is coffee? Inspiration to get up in the morning.
What is coffee? I don't know how you would describe it. I would say it's a ritual for people.
Coffee is a really cool, unique, collaborative experience of people across the globe.
Can you like ask me that like a week ahead of time and then film me?
What is coffee?
Coffee is life.
Coffee is the most delicious drink in the world that keeps me going from morning until night.
Coffee is the elixir the gods gave us after Pandora's box was opened to give us the energy to proceed on.
America drinks about 146 billion cups of coffee per year, which is pretty wild. But it's actually a bit more confusing than that because only around 35% of those coffee drinkers are actually drinking your standard black cup of coffee. Here's what I mean. Your cup of coffee could look like this, or it could look like this. It could look like this. It could look like this, or this. This is where things could start to get potentially pretty overwhelming. So let's ask the question again. What is coffee?
Hey. Ellos mandan una muestra también de lo que le tocaron el año pasado. Ajá. Vamos por aquí, salir allá.
It's a coffee torch, Julie.
In certain climates across the world, there grows this lovely plant that we've come to affectionately call the coffee plant or coffee tree. These trees produce a cherry, and inside of that cherry is a seed. And you can do one of two things. You can take that seed, plant it back in the ground, grow more coffee plants, or you can turn that seed into coffee. When shopping for a bag of coffee or maybe picking what coffee you're gonna get at your local coffee shop, you might have seen words like wash process or natural process and wondered like, what does that mean? On the most basic level, that's just different ways to get the seed out of the cherry of a coffee plant.
All right, so this is Costa Rica La Manita, and this is green coffee. This is coffee to me. Green coffee bean is super hard, loaded with moisture, smells and tastes like grass, hay, or tea, depending on the processing. So this bean has been through the majority of its journey. We're going to continue it on through the roasting process. The roasting process uses a recipe of heat, air, and time, and that's what we use to achieve the roast level. And while it's roasting, it goes from this green color to more of a yellow, then ultimately to the brown color that you're more familiar with as a coffee bean. From there, it goes out of the roaster and then onto the production line to be bagged from there.
What's your first memory of coffee, your first like coffee experience?
My dad used to take me to coffee shops all the time. In France, they had little sugar cubes with pieces of artwork on them. They were like wrapped in brown paper, and I remember that.
The first time I had coffee, my mom would brew it for herself in the morning, and then she would let me have just a little tiny bit of it and a chocolate chip cookie to dip in it. So
My first memory of coffee is going to church with my sister. She always got coffee. And so I was like, I'll get coffee too. But I want to be cool, so I got it black without cream.
Learning to make coffee when I was probably 7 years old from my mom and dad. I was the only person after that was told I could make a decent pot of coffee in the house.
My buddy Mark, he's in the military. They have like PT they have to go to about 4 a.m. I went to visit him. If he's getting up at 4 a.m., I'm getting up at 4 a.m. So therefore, I was drinking lots of coffee.
My first coffee experience was at my grandma's house, and she drank the freeze-dried Senka, and she would put it in a cup and lots of sugar and milk and let me drink it. And really wasn't coffee, but I thought I was big stuff drinking that. So.
My first coffee experience, at least memory-wise, was probably 5th grade. I started drinking coffee before that, but drinking coffee with my parents in the morning before going to school. And they used to add cream to my coffee, and that was really my memory of having my first black coffee because we ran out of milk. And been drinking black coffee ever since.
Probably my mom and dad drinking coffee, and you know, the smell of coffee in our house, and the smell of coffee on my parents' breath when they would tell me goodbye as I went to the school bus in the morning. I didn't really drink coffee until I was into adulthood. My wife's family, they all drink a lot of coffee, so I really didn't drink a whole lot of coffee until I met my wife. So I have two great memories attached to coffee, my parents and my wife. So now I drink more coffee than she does.
My first memory of coffee was my grandpa. My grandpa was a Navy guy. He smoked like a sailor and he drank a ton of coffee. Really bad coffee at that. He always put sugar in it and clanked the spoon against the cup for hours and drove everybody crazy. But I thought he was the coolest guy in the world. So he started giving me a little bit of coffee and little candy cigarettes, and I would sit out on the porch with him and we would have cigarettes and coffee. And the thing is, whenever I ask people that question, what was your first memory or first experience with coffee? Their story is usually pretty similar. I'm guessing you already noticed a bit of a theme. My grandpa,
My mom,
My buddy,
My grandma,
With my parents.
My parents and my wife.
My dad used to take me to coffee shops all the time.
My sister.
My mom and dad.
So with all of that in mind, let's ask the question one more time. What is coffee? Well, it's what gets us out of bed in the morning and through our day. On a more literal level, it's a plant that makes this incredible journey from seed to cup. But as much as any of that, coffee is built on relationships. It's often the very thing sitting on the table in front of you while you're with someone you care about, making what will soon become one of your fondest memories. Thanks for watching.